YouTube was Amateur Boys there back with another banger. In this video, Brian Norman says, Boots don't want that work. Let's get it. In an interview, Brian Norman Sr., I believe, said, Boots ain't calling us. He don't want that work. When asked if he thinks Boots will go the Teofimo route rather than his son, he said probably would. Um, he says he'll be a B. That's what he said about Ennis. He says, we're right here. You said you only want unifications. He said you duck Virgil Ortiz. I'm not going to call I'm not gonna say you duck Tio because you said you wanted the belts. Cool. You duck Virgil. And then when Tio asked you for a fight at 47, you didn't take it. I'm not gonna call that a duck. Uh he also says you didn't take that. Now you said you only want to unify and then you got standing on this. It's perfectly understandable, even on our end. It's perfectly understandable and perfectly good. Even if he didn't fight us for standing on this, that's cool. But if you fight Tio and Tio don't got nothing to offer, that's BS. He also says even if he's got that fake WBA, that's not the belt that counts. That's not going to make him unified. That's not going to get him closer to undisputed. All you need is the four major belts. That's it. And Tio don't got one. And Tio ain't about to have one. Mm, 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 mm. He said a lot. First of all, he says he ducked Virgil Ortiz. If that's what you want to call it, I guess. If that's what you want to call it, I guess. Um, Boot said he thought the fight was gonna be at welterweight, and then turned out the fight was gonna be at 54. And Boots was like, "Nah, I'm not moving up there." So it is what it is. If you want to say he ducked Virgil, cool. He also says, now that you only want to unify, it's perfect that you got Stanionis. But he said if you fight Tio, that's a BS. That's a bullshit fight because Tio don't got the belt at welterweight. And it's true that Tio got the real belt at a super lightweight, but him moving up don't give Boots anything. It just gives Tio an opportunity to get Boots his belt. So he said if Tio gets the Boots fight, that's BS, and I agree. Boots has no incentive to fight Tio. If I'm Boots, I'm not fighting Tio. It does nothing for my. It's a name, sure, but I'm just gonna beat him brutally, right? That's all that's gonna happen. He's gonna beat him brutally, and Boots on the run for undisputed, right? He don't care about nothing else. He on the run to undisputed. He not worried about Tio. The guys he got his sight on, the guy he got his sight on right now is Immensis Stanionis. Um, and it's funny that the Normans they talking crazy to Tio. They like, even if he got that fake ass WBA, that don't count towards undisputed. And I'm gonna disagree right there. He got a real WBA. It's just not a welterweight WBA. It's a super lightweight WBA. And they was like Tio don't got a major belt and he ain't about to have one. So they pretty much saying Tio, you wouldn't dare move up and challenge us. That's pretty much what Brian Norman Sr. said. You're like Tio, you're not finna move up and fight my son, right? Brian Norman Jr. He a monster, right? Power, decent defense, pocket awareness, like he a pretty well rounded fighter. However, I don't know how well he can box, and I know Boots is extremely well rounded. So like I said, I'm not gonna get too deep into the politics with these guys because the further you go into the politics, the harder it is to make the fight. Um, I think if they really want to make this fight happen, they should do what Errol and Boot and but I don't know why Errol and Bud method not very common in boxing. Why guys just don't get on the phone, talk it out, negotiate on the phone, and then bring it to the promoter and say, let's make it happen. You feel me? Because if Boots can negotiate a fight with Stanionis, then he definitely can negotiate with Brian Norman. The first fight fell out obviously over money, right? And it's funny because Eddie refused to give Brian Norman the money they was asking for. However, he ended up paying Karen more than Brian Norman for less than Brian Norman had to offer. So that's classic Eddie Hearn. You know, fights falling out over money and money being used in mysterious places. Eddie Hearn, that's a classic Eddie Hearn. Fumbling fights. So at this point, these guys they've been trashing each other in the media. Brian Norman said he a B, saying they on some bitch shit. But the reason the fight hasn't happened is Eddie Hearn. whenever you look at a lot of these fights that haven't happened, AJ Wilder, Eddie Hearn, Fury, AJ, Eddie Hearn, Boots, Brian Norman, Eddie Hearn. It's a common denominator, right? And the guys end up beefing with each other, not realizing Eddie Hearn is the puppet master, pulling their strings from the side, from behind the scenes. They don't even notice. So like I said, at the end of the day, this is the most competitive fight at welterweight in my opinion. Boots versus Brian Norman. They both in their prime, both young guys. Um, Last time I saw Brian Norman fight, he likes to stay on the line. He throw big knockout shots from medium range. Um, and that's pretty much his style, right? He a mid-range guy who like to throw big shots. Boots can fight from every range. He can fight outside, mid-range, long range. He can fight out of any stance. He can fight at any pace. He can fight multiple styles. He can counter punch and he can be the aggressor. Not a lot of guys can do that, right? Brian Norman can't counter punch. Teofimo Lopez not good at being the aggressor. Teofimo Lopez can counter punch. Brian Norman is good at being the aggressor. So, but Boots can do both, and that's what makes him dangerous. Boots can counter punch. He can fight on the front foot. He can fight orthodox. He can fight southpaw. He got power in both hands. He can box. He got if he minds his defense, he could be better on defense. He get hit with unnecessary shit, but he got a good chin. He can take punches. So I think Boots beats Norman. I think Boots beats everybody at welterweight. But specifically, I think he beats Brian Norman by late stoppage or unanimous decision. Boots versus Teofimo Lopez is going to be a slaughtering. It's going to be Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia versus Danny Garcia. The only difference is going to be he's going to get the knockout over Teo, whether that be his dad throwing it in or him knocking him unconscious or him getting a 3 knockdown rule. Boots will hurt Teofimo Lopez badly, and Teofimo Lopez knows it. Teofimo Lopez got hurt by Sander Martin. Teofimo Lopez got hurt by George Kambosos. Boots in is going to put some pain on that boy. Trust me. So that's pretty much all I got. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this. Till next time.